This is Justin Amazon. Take a look at the daily chart on March 12th, 2018 of Amazon. Today we had yet another bullish gap, bullish retest gap, and another all-time high. Today the new high was 1605.33, and doesn't seem like anything is slowing this down. I will point out that on the squeeze, it had a lower amount of momentum, lower value on the momentum here. The squeeze usually lasts 8 to 10 bars, and it has gone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and now put in a slightly lower momentum. Doesn't necessarily mean it's slowing down, doesn't mean it's going to roll over. It just means that the squeeze has run its course, and today was a little bit of a bonus price, going up a little bit higher. I wanted to zoom out a little bit. This is the daily chart dating back quite a ways into 2008. Just looking at the move that it's had, there's been a number of squeezes along the way that have continued to push it bullish. I want to look at the weekly, which is similar. We actually had a squeeze trigger back in late October that kind of was the start of this move that we've been in after this consolidation through that consolidation squeeze period here. And then we did have a single lower momentum bar, and that was the 10% pullback we saw on the general markets, and a significant pullback here as well. And then it just bounced, and not much later, or not many weeks later, was it making new all-time highs. And then one more, I'll zoom out one more time to the monthly, and also here we had some squeezes formed. This is at the beginning of 2015, and you can just see this consolidation and pause at this level way back down in the 300s. Imagine that if you had bought down there in the 300s off of a monthly squeeze triggering, anywhere in here had bought and just held onto the stock or some long-term options. In this case, there were two bars that had some lower momentum, a few more here, yet each of those were great buying locations. This one off of the 21 exponential moving average on the monthly, this one in this area off of the 5 exponential moving average. Some consolidation in here, which finally resulted in one lower bar, but the other ones didn't, and have just been pushed higher ever since then. So we'll come back into so looking at the prices that we've seen, this cannot continue forever, but I'm not going to call the top. On the weekly, same thing. This could just keep going up a little bit more. This is a nice small candle. It's only a Monday, so we'll see what actually the candle turns into for today. And then looking back at the daily, and I mean, it's even hard to see what else going on way up here. So we'll zoom back in on this area, and it's just a good thing to keep in mind the context of where we're at and how many people are continuing to buy. We've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bullish candles in a row, making all-time highs just about every day since here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 new all-time highs in a row, and any of these levels that we've had drawn in here from the last couple weeks could be great locations for a pullback in the 1500s, a little bit lower into any of these moving averages, and a bounce. If we go then zoom into the hourly, take a look at this. This is what we've drawn in, some of these resistances. This resistance became new support. This resistance is an area that it kind of bounced in. We had some prices, the 1514. We've yet to see this one retested on a daily, the 1540 area here. But any of these would be great locations for a pullback. Oops, did not mean to do that. Not let me scroll any further. No, that is not cooperating. Wow. That's not what I wanted to do. Let me see if I can revert back to my chart, otherwise we're going to have to shut down and come back up. I want to load it. Yeah. Oh, okay. There we go. Now it's reloading. Sorry for the technical difficulties. Got out of that pretty quickly. There we go. Back in here to the hourly. So we'll zoom in a little bit to take a look at what happened today. There weren't any squeezes on the hourly. That's happened anytime recently in the last few days. But if we jump over to the next page here to the 5 minute, we can see some action that has just continued to be bullish. Friday, it just chopped higher. There were very few bearish candles in a row. There were 5. And then today, there were only a few bearish candles, but it just kind of chopped a little higher. You could draw a line in at this level. This high was 1592.84, and it stayed below that through the pre-market and then pushed right up to it as the market opened. And that high there was 1592.60. We'll zoom in on just the day. And had you drawn in a line here saying, okay, if it breaks above that, I'll get in, that would have been a great place to take a bullish retest gap with a trigger in here and a stop down here. Ultimately would have been probably a 2R, a little more. Or if you had bought a pullback with a stop underneath another wick, or had you been watching options, I'll point out what the options are here, or had a buy entry off of an option price based on this candle or the breakout of this candle, there is an opportunity to get in this area, which would have been a great place to buy through a squeeze, a consolidation, kind of this S curve happening here, and that's where it rallied into a new all-time high. And then in the afternoon, just made some sideways action in here, forming a bit of a triangle, broke bearish. This kind of looked like a double top through here, retested with these two candles or this candle, and then rolled back over and came back down very close to this same area. So like this candle, the high here was this general area of support, and this support here with a great candle, a buying opportunity candle here. It had the negative momentum. It looked like it could have continued to roll over from that double top, but Amazon has been incredibly bullish, and it would have been a great place to just buy, or waiting. Okay, it's not. Looks like it's still holding this. Gotten in on any of these candles. We'll take a quick look at that and see what you could have done with a little bit of a rally into the close, and then it did end up selling down a little bit. But some places that you could have locked in some profits. So let's come back out to here. We'll look at, let's see, I had loaded, so let me reload the options. I had 1600 expiring this week, and I had the 1605 expiring this week. And just wanted to point out a couple options that I noticed, a couple prices I noticed on these two options. These two would have been, close to the 1600. You're so close at this level to 1600, almost a given that it's going to reach there, but you don't want to make any assumptions on things like that. But the opening candle on the option was actually in the 5 minute on the day. I'm sorry, on the 5 minute on Amazon was actually a bearish candle, but both of the options 5 minute candles were actually bullish, actually moved higher. Had you bought at any point in those candles, whatever the price was at, and not recommend to do that, but if you were aggressive, you could have with a stop, a few dollars away, or at the previous day's low, something like that, or the low of that candle. You would have been buying either here or buying somewhere in here with a stop down here. Would have given you some room. Probably would have taken that to an R or something up here. Here's the, let's see, it's this candle that we saw that retest. So anyway, you could have bought on this candle the breakout above that candle, above the opening 5 minute candle. So here it would have been somewhere around probably 10, 10.50. This candle probably would have been somewhere around 12, 13, something like that, and just bought in with a stop down around 10 or so, 950 maybe below the low, or here on this one around $9, a little under $9. Would have been a small, could have been a manageable risk to have a small stop at that level, and it didn't even come close to coming back down to it. The next place you could have entered was a retest of this price on this candle, which would have been buying at the low on that candle, or the close price on that candle in this case. So that would have been 11.05. Maybe we'll say it's 11.50. Someone got in with a stop underneath either of these candles. You probably got a $2 or $2.50 range on that. This candle here, that would have been, again, a stop or entry around maybe 14, and a stop either around 11 or possibly lower. That wouldn't have been too much on the 1600. There was a lot of kind of grinding a little bit higher, and then it just didn't go. But it needed some more opportunity to retest. I called that a bullish retest gap, and it did retest on the 5-minute and retested off of the after a move up, came back, and again, all of these are all-time highs that it's making, each one of these, and so giving it a little more room to come back down a couple candles. Had the squeeze forming here, and this area with coming back into these buying wicks and retesting that into here. Any of these candles, had you anticipated that there would probably be some buying on a second retest? So here's the first retest immediately. Here's a second retest of that breakout price, and then this would have been what you were looking to buy. And it's a lot easier to see in the 1605 calls that this just was sideways through here. You could have probably bought at 1150 on these, or somewhere in here, with not much room down to have a stop. Maybe down to 11. Maybe you go out 12 by 11, something like that. Or even if you bought up here in these candles, that would have been 1245 by 1145, something like that. It didn't even come back down anywhere close to that price. It just rallied higher. And then over here, had you bought at like 15 on this candle, or had you bought down in here around 12 or 13, not 12, sorry, around 13 maybe. This is the one I wanted to point out where you had a retest of, this S-curve pullback is a retest of this level, but this candle put a lower price on the option at 13. Had you set up a trade to buy at 13, you would have gotten in on this candle, which had a low of 1268, or this candle with a low of 1265. So you could have bought in at 13 with a stop, maybe $1, maybe $2, maybe under 11, 13 by 11. So you have a $2 risk, and just had that buy option or the buy order just sitting there on the option, and set up a stop, or set up a stop at 11 and a target at 2R would be at 17, or 3R would have been 19. Either one of those would have been hit, rallying up into a new all-time high at the 1605 price, and that would have been an incredible move based on the option price. A little bit of premium leaving here, even though we didn't quite make a lower price on the stock, made a slightly lower price in the option, and would have been a great place to just ride that move up, gotten out, and said, okay, we'll see you tomorrow. Or could have watched for another place to enter. This is the price movement. It just lost some premium, and consolidated, even though it was going a little bit higher. A couple larger candles here after some smaller candles in this area, consolidation on the squeeze, and then broke lower. A retest, could have been buying a put right here, looking for more of a rollover, or at least into this price. Didn't quite get that. So if you had bought up here, probably would have been looking to tighten up your stop, or just exit in this area when this is happening, because it just wasn't going bearish. This is where I was talking about buying again. So off of this candle, if you had seen this candle form above the previous support that we had, either bought when this candle broke bullish, or any time in the next half an hour after this, Somebody was buying here, that would have been a price of maybe $12.50. Well, yeah, definitely $12.50 on that one, something like that. Or over here, maybe bought at $14.50 with a stop down at $13.50. Again, a dollar risk, and that would have had a move up and didn't quite go as high. So didn't come back to rival the previous high or all-time high on Amazon, but it did move up enough that you could have bought, what do we say, $14.50 by $13.50, and then you could have exited maybe at $17.50, $18.50, something like that. Either of those are 4 or 5 hour trades on a consolidation after making an incredible buying candle above support, where it maybe looked like it was going to roll over, but it would have been a great opportunity in any of these still to buy at a stop below this candle, and definitely below on the option price. You could have even gone with the stop down at, say, 12. So you're buying $14.50 by 12, or even at this candle. Well, you probably wouldn't have bought at the low. Maybe you would have bought on this candle. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is that there was a few places you could have bought today where, or what was that? Sorry, $14.50 by $13.50. So that would have been 3 or 4R. Sorry, 3R up to $17.50, 4 up to $18.50. So 3 or 4R on this bullish move, and made maybe 2 or 3R on this move. Both looking for bullish moves, both looking for a bounce off support or after an S curve. So here is the S curve for this one. This one wasn't as much of an S curve as it was somewhat of a double bottom here. Didn't get much of a retest, but you could have bought in this area thinking, okay, it made double bottom, or at least you'll have some support down here from the options. And if we look at the option price, again, it came back here to that price, but then this time it didn't come back that far. Part of it being because the 1600 price that's pretty much the next strike. I mean, maybe 2 strikes away, depending on where exactly you're buying. So you're not going to see the pullback as much when you're this far out of the money and haven't quite been there. I think this was looking to tag it. Yeah, $15.99.70, $15.99.50, and at $15.99.60. So these candles, there were people selling right at 1600. Even here, people were selling at 1600. It just got through it first. But that's why I said it really looked like it was just going to get there. With the gap we had, with that bearish candle that people were selling, locking in profits right away, thinking this isn't going to go any higher. Come back to the daily. There were definitely sellers up here, but some of them were just people taking profits. And other ones were saying, okay, this is the top. It can't get any higher. And from the high on Friday, we had almost a shaved top. The price is, the high was $15.78.94, and the close was $15.78.89. So 5 cents off of a shaved top, saying there are people buying right into the close. And it's no wonder that it gapped up over the weekend and then put in this kind of a consolidation and a bearish candle into the open. Very similar to what we saw on Friday. We had a bearish 5-minute candle on the at the open, a bearish 5-minute candle on the open. It consolidated and moved higher all day. It didn't really consolidate. It did retest, and it moved higher, but didn't really necessarily do it all day. I guess it did do it all day. We had a higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low all day. We made a higher high, made a higher high, and then we didn't make another higher high to cap off the day. If you recall from the other videos this last week, each of these days was, let's see if we can do enough. Opening candle was bullish, and it just kind of moved up, chopped a little bit. Opening candle was bullish, just chopped all day. Opening candle was bearish, and it ran. Opening candle was bearish, and it ran higher. And it's just interesting how this moved. It seemed like when people were selling into the open, it had a better opportunity to go higher after that selling, after people were getting out Maybe some people were shorting and they were losing and had to buy to cover on its way up, and that helped with buying. Other people were buying at the opens on these other days and saw a little bit of profit, but you would have had to hold to the next day and then to the next day and then the next day to actually make something on it. But people were doing that too. So I hope this helps. Taking a look at certain option prices as the stock is actually moving, and seeing where it is you can do some setup, what you can look for in the actual price of the stock versus the price of the option, and what the candles are doing. So continue to look at the candles and understand how everything's working. And this is Justin AMZN.